Controversy on the campus of Kean College in New Jersey, where Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan spoke out. But tonight, Farrakhan toned down his rhetoric. News 4's Dave Browdy is standing by live in Union. Dave?
Well, Sue, Farrakhan said, if you came to hear hatred from me, you're going to be disappointed. And the speech started about an hour late. It is now about 2 hours into it. It is still going on back in the Kean College auditorium as we speak. But as of the time that I had to come out to do this report, I heard absolutely nothing that sounded like hatred, nothing at all. Security surrounding the appearance by the Muslim minister was massive. State police, county prosecutors, agents, and school security, as well as members of Farrakhan's Fruit of Islam, were present. The 800 students and faculty who got tickets and everyone entering was searched. Outside, a crowd of demonstrators protested against the appearance. Farrakhan referred to the protesters and their complaints that he's indulging in hate speech.
This is why the protesters are out there, because they believe I am a hater in here uttering hateful speech, and they've come together to make a statement. We don't want any more hateful speech. Neither do I.
There was no hatred in this message, a sharp contrast to the recent speech here by Farrakhan aide Khalid Mohammed, which was criticized as anti-Semitic. Farrakhan in this message specifically rejected anti-Semitism, but did preach racial separatism.
If we can't see eye to eye, then why shouldn't we separate from you and do something for ourselves? You don't like separation, but you don't want black people. You gotta make up your mind.
Now, that was probably the most controversial thing in the speech. A couple of notes about it. The 12,000 students of Kean College did not pay for this. Farrakhan waived his honorarium. The students did collect $6,300 for security costs the school said were incurred, and that did not include the cost of the state police and the prosecutors' agents who were provided by outside agencies. The small crowd of demonstrators, perhaps 100 or 200, have pretty much dissipated in the rain. The speech should run, we are told, about another 20 minutes. In Union, New Jersey, I'm Dave Browdy, News 4, New York.
Dave, thank you.
And you're more optimistic than the sounds of blackness. Flip rhymes are ripped through the chest cavity, and I keep going and going just like an energizer battery. Flattery will get you nowhere unless it's the derriere, and then it gets you everywhere. Went to the flea market, was in my car parking. Beef like blunts, if you got it, then spark it. And with the fist of cup came a fist, and you joined Steven Seagal on them off a death hit list. Went back to the 70s and brothers got on grins, cause they can step the sisters and say, slap me some skins, honey dip, and take the squad to the TV. Hit it off, smoke a cig, watch a little TV. And if there ain't no pace, there's no show, I'll just chill and return to kick 'em in the grill.
Back to the grill again. Back to the grill again. MC Search. That was fly. We gonna try like this though. What's the style while I do it? If you know it, then you knew it. If you knew it, then you knew it. If I catch a punk to it, I'ma drop the flavor fluid on his head. Yep, I blew it. And like Aretha Franklin, your mom's jumping to it. So, where did you go? Where do you know? So many people wanna be fly like Joe. G.I. Lots and lots, and any rapper can top the red hot. Not R&B, rips, hip hop. Not MC Search is gonna flip flop. Not all my hoes look like Sasquatch. Not and George Bush gets enough props. Well, anyway, I'm a slay, lay, pull a hoe around my way, I make hooker souffle. Red Hollow Matoma like to thank MC Search. Yo, you chill for making me part of history, kicking them in the
Vanessa, keep a Tech 9 and my dresser. Lyrical professor, keep it under pressure. Mind like a computer, the inserter. Paragraphs of murder, the nightclub further. This is Nas, kid, you know how it runs. I'm waving automatic guns at nuns. Sticking up the preachers in the church, I'm a stone crook. Serial killer who works by the phone book. For you, I got a lot to shoot songs here. My rhymes are hotter than a prostitute with gonorrhea. On the mic, I let vocabulary spill. It's like that jaw, kick them in the grill.
You're dealing with a force that's straight up real. How can you figure you're fat when I mush the grill? Bragging how you flip a lyric without no problem. Ever heard of the Grim Reaper? Well, I'm him. Gambling with your stacks when you shouldn't be ripping. Stop while you're ahead and then cash your chips in. I trigger the flow, figure the old fact. I glitter with the whiff of a gold link known as a Figaro. I got the will, the skill, give me the bill and intentional slap. Jump back or I'ma kick you in the grill. Back to the grill again. Back to the grill again. The grill again.
right. I guess my game is hockey. A basketball, football, taking paints and poker. If Honey Dip got a money clip, I'm gonna stroke her. Wait a minute, chill, can't swing. Cause my girl ain't my girl no more, now she got a ring. Respect my wisdom like I respect myself. Try to G, I'll put you in a tree just like the Keebler elves. You couldn't be the Mac if you had the car, the hat, the hoe, and your would still be out the back like a patio. Cause I saw you eating pig knuckles with Frankie Knuckles in a club called Chuckles, when they play belt buckles. Yo, kid, your life is flimsy. Gave you enough respect, but took it back cause I was stingy. So from the cons and pros to the pros and the cons, cause I'm coming off like dresses at the palms. Searchlight mob is gonna kill Nasty Nas, Red Hot Lover Tone, OC and Chub Rock, kicking them in the grill.
Here in New York, the city's Department of Investigation says it has videotapes of 7 Brinks guards stealing $1 million in coins. Those coins taken from the very parking meters the guards were supposed to collect fees from. Following a 9-month investigation, all 7 guards have been arrested and charged with the $1 million theft. The Brinks company has a 3-year contract with the city to collect those parking meter fees. Well, how did you get to work today? That's a question we've been hearing a lot during the transit strike. And as Christy Farrer reports, some people have found some very unique ways of getting around.
Those are either the people who have been spending the most money, expending the most energy, or using the most ingenuity. To the utmost, New Yorkers have used horsepower, people power, creative power, and good old elbow grease to beat this strike. But for those of you whose energy levels are running on just about empty, have I got something for you. It's one of the only motorized ways to get around town and beat those traffic doldrums. With his motorized skates, inventor Martin Halverson gets 240 city blocks a gallon and his share of choice looks.
Round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round, I get around, I get around, round, round, I get around, get around, round, round, I get around, get around, round, round, I get around, get around, round, round, I get around.
I think they're great, fantastic.
Would you use them?
Definitely, yes.
I think it's ridiculous.
Why?
Physical walking never hurt anybody.
I think they're marvelous. You can get around without pushing your feet. You just hold the handle down and go.
It's a very simple engine with a throttle, a hand throttle, and I use the hand throttle for speed and for brakes. It brakes on compression.
At up to speeds of 30 miles an hour, Halverson's 1.3 horsepower motor can take any checker in the streets these days, if unsuspecting passengers don't kill him first. It really did happen that way. If you want to get motor rolling, you're going to need $600 to finance the custom-made skates. And the manufacturer advises you know how to skate backwards on the old-fashioned variety before you tackle these.
Good morning, I'm Roy Whitfield. This is Action News for Friday, April 11th. Topping the news at this hour, a New York cop is shot while trying to nab 3 robbery suspects in Queens. Substantial progress reported in the transit talks, and President Carter asked U.S. allies to impose their own sanctions against Iran. A police officer answering a robbery call at a Queens social club was shot and seriously wounded Thursday night. Eyewitnesses say the unidentified officer arrived at the club on Beach 43rd Street, Far Rockaway, as 3 suspected robbers were escaping by car. The officer was shot 3 times as he gave chase. At last report, the policeman was in serious but stable condition at St. John's Hospital. Although his name has not been released, it is known he was assigned to the Mott Avenue Station House. The officer is the 14th city cop to be shot in the line of duty this year. 1 suspect has been taken into custody concerning that shooting. A note of optimism this morning toward ending the transit strike, now in its 11th day. Jeff Kean reports on Thursday's meetings held at several Manhattan locations.
Talks in the transit strike are in a critical stage right now. Governor Carey, City Council President Carol Bellamy, and other MTA board members were shuttling back and forth between the Sheraton Center Hotel, where labor and management have been engaging in give and take at the bargaining table, and the governor's office only blocks away, where Mayor Koch has been working on the potential settlement deal with his top advisors. I spoke to him before the talks recessed for the night.
The fact is that we're here without question, Governor, myself, his people, my people, to be in touch with Dick Ravitch regularly through the evening, who is now entering into very important negotiations with the TWU.
Are the indications that things are close to a possible...
I cannot say that and then have you disappointed. I can't say that.
Earlier today, Governor Carey, Mayor Koch, and the man on the hot seat in the negotiations, MTA Chairman Richard Ravitch, walked into a news conference at the governor's Midtown office and struck a very optimistic pose. Although none of them would say so, I learned from other reliable sources that progress has been made at the bargaining table. And if the negotiations continue as they have been today, there is reason to believe that a sizable wage increase will be offered to the strikers, based in large part on buybacks, work rule changes yielding increased productivity. But that could be days away. Meanwhile, the mayor and the governor expressed their full faith in Mr. Ravitch as the chief negotiator.
Unity. This is a unity slate. Although we're not running for anything.
In the press room of the Sheraton Center Hotel, site of the negotiations, leaders of the major unions in the city and state joined in a scare tactic, warning of a possible general strike in support of the TWU.
Is it being actively considered? I spoke about it. I spoke about it.
As a potential reality?
As a potential step along the road of our shutting off and bringing this city back to a normal operation.
That would bring it back to a normal operation?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Because then the powers that be are going to take note of what could possibly happen, and they're going to have to come up with something reasonable.
Well, I'm told the general strike being considered, though not very actively right now, would be a midday 4-hour action. The union leaders called on Mayor Koch to personally come to the bargaining table. I consulted a top labor lawyer and a nationally known mediator on that suggestion. Both experts, not involved in the city dispute, told me the call for Mayor Koch at the bargaining table is nothing but theater. Hopefully all that will be past history if all goes well within the next few critical days.
Long Island Railroad talks are adjourned until later today. Progress also reported there. One mediator says he's pretty optimistic because the 7 Long Island Railroad operating unions have been pliable on the issue of work rules, so now it's down to money. With the Long Island still running, some cars from Nassau and Suffolk have been kept out of the city, but rush hour is still a nightmare. Tim Malloy reports on the homebound exodus Thursday night.
This was rush hour number 16 of the strike, and it was a day at the beach compared to the soggy, frantic exodus 24 hours ago. At the 59th Street Bridge, the city's busiest exit point, it was slow going, but the quiet determination that has come to characterize the city's approach to the strike seemed to have returned. 3 p.m., 1st Avenue, 13 blocks south of the entrance to the 59th Street Bridge. The rush hour started earlier today, and it lasted longer, though some were able to make a hayride out of it.
Hey, let's go! That's all?
And others were willing to board big rigs for the ride. Most were locked to the steering wheels of their cars for the long drive to Queens and the island.
It's a nightmare. I love New York, but this is a nightmare.
It's crazy. This is crazy. I don't know what I don't know what the man's going to do.
Of all the New York bridges, the 59th Street Bridge handles by far the heaviest load of outward bound traffic. It was hoped tonight that its 6 lanes would carry out about 6,000 cars an hour. 30,000 cars over the 5-hour rush period.
See a little bit more horn blowing yesterday and today as opposed to last week. There was a little bit more joviality last week.
They're keeping their heads so far.
Oh, yes, sir, more or less, I would say so. Definitely.
How about you?
Oh, definitely. All the way. We have to keep our cool.
Big problems at the Queens Midtown Tunnel, 25 blocks to the south, brought problems uptown. The long wait for those hoping to board the Green Bus Line was longer today. But the Salvation Army, no stranger to disasters, posted trucks at the 59th Street and Brooklyn bridges and handed out thousands of cups of free coffee.
We're all New Yorkers trying to help each other out. This is all volunteer work. I hope they're happy to see us here because I like being here helping people.
Now here's one you might find hard to swallow. Because the Battery Tunnel has been made outward bound only during the evening rush, the traffic department suggests you enter Manhattan this way from Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. Take the Verrazano Bridge to the Staten Island Expressway, to the Bayonne Bridge, to the Jersey Turnpike Extension, to the Holland Tunnel, to the west side of Manhattan. Take 2 aspirin and call us in the morning. They say it takes 30 minutes.
Those who love Michelle Labatello grow more frightened while they ask, where is she? The young Westbury woman was set to get married in June, but she vanished this weekend before a surprise bridal shower. Her sister and fiancé are convinced she didn't just get cold feet about the upcoming nuptials.
I cannot see her running away. She's a predictable, conservative person.
I know she was kidnapped, and that's it. I know she was kidnapped.
Michelle Labatello was last seen at Roosevelt Field Shopping Center on Long Island Friday night. Her car was left in the parking lot. She vanished without a trace.
A teenager who once accused Newark police of ambushing and nearly killing him is in trouble with the law again. 19-year-old Howard Caesar and 4 others are charged with going on a weekend crime spree that included a carjacking, shootings, robberies, and the assault of an officer.
It's the whole round up the usual suspects as far as we're concerned, you know. Unfortunately, the system does not deal with people like Mr. Caesar in an effective and efficient manner.
2 years ago, Caesar was badly wounded by police who nabbed him in a stolen car chase. Charges are still pending against him, but one of the officers was convicted of pointing a gun at Caesar's car, and he was sentenced to prison and
Sobering
dismissed.
statistic on women and AIDS now. Worldwide, the primary method of HIV transmission is heterosexual intercourse, and straight, non-IV drug-using women are more likely to contract the virus than men. News 4's Lou Young met one woman who lives these frightening statistics every single day.
The face of AIDS can be found on any street in this city. I met Pam Shaw on the east side and still have trouble connecting her clear skin and blue eyes with the HIV virus. But she has it, and she wants you to know, because she is only one of many, and many more to come.
I'm 30 years old now. I found out that I was infected when I was 28, and I contacted all of my former boyfriends because I had mostly had unsafe sex throughout my adult life. And I found out in the course of this sort of investigation that I was infected when I was 17, a senior in high school, from my first boyfriend.
So they advise people to have safe sex or be sure about their sex partner, but who can ever really be sure? One recent case involved a woman in her 60s, married more than 25 years. She found out about it all from her late husband's autopsy.
Mrs. A woman was, I would say, fairly close to suicidal tendencies when I first saw her. I mean, it was astonishing. Who did you spend 25 years of your life with? And no answer to that. The man's dead. Who was that?
The thing is that I do fit the picture of what somebody with HIV looks like, because they look like us all.
Already here at New York Hospital, nearly half the AIDS cases walking in the door are women, and most of those women got the disease through heterosexual sex. The experts say it'll only get worse. They expect to be overwhelmed in the next decade. The bottom line, if you're human and sexually active, you're at risk. Lou Young, News 4 New York.
Ikea has an idea, and the company says it's a gamble. Starting Wednesday, the furniture giant targets the gay community with a new television ad.
Different tastes. I mean, Steve's more into country. It frightens me, but at the same time, I have compassion.
We've been together about 3 years.
The ad features 2 gay men buying dining room furniture. Ikea says it breaks new ground in marketing.
That there are different families out there in different households above and beyond the traditional family.
Just well-designed.
Gay activists are applauding the ad as a bold step in advertising. It will air in the New York, Philadelphia, and Washington TV markets.
A hero behind the wheel when News 4 continues. Up next, you'll meet a bus driver credited with saving a life.
Also, out alone, late at night, you're a prime target for a mugger's attack, but you can avoid being attacked. Don't miss the News 4 Survival Guide. Another chance to see a special News 4 series. Last fall, Ralph Penza showed you how to protect yourself on the street, in your car, and in your home. And he offered you a free booklet filled with crime prevention tips. Thousands of you wrote in, and so as a public service, we're going to run the series again and tell you how to get that booklet.
The fear, the horror of being mugged on the streets. Tonight, a former mugger shows you how he selected his victims.
Boy, what a hell of a day I've had.
And the day is about to get worse.
Mister, give me your money right now.
Stay cool. All right, stay cool, stay cool. All right, stay cool.
The robbery is make-believe, but the robber is not. To feed a drug habit, he has committed at least 30 armed robberies, dozens of burglaries, and hundreds of purse snatchings. He shows us how he did it. This one-time mugger took me through the New York streets he used to prowl. At one point, the ex-mugger told me that while he sometimes used a gun, his weapon of choice was a 12-inch long butcher knife to threaten his victims.
I produced a knife, I put it to his throat, and what you would see on a horror screen if somebody was being murdered, that was etched on this man's face. I'll never forget it.
A criminal from his teenage years, he was arrested 14 times, got off with minor plea bargain sentences until finally getting up to 8 years in prison.
I said to myself, are you going to make a career out of this?
In prison, he beat his drug habit and took college courses. After prison, a master's degree. Now, 36, he's a college teacher and a valued New York City youth counselor. He wants to pay back by helping you protect yourself from the street criminals he knows so well.
This gentleman looks like he's defenseless and probably just coming home from work.
This ex-mugger wants you to know how muggers choose their victims. Do you fit this profile? People who are not alert, who seem preoccupied, carrying too many packages. People who look meek and mild.
He appears small in stature. I would probably encounter very little resistance.
What would you do?
I would walk up to him, turn him by the shoulder, and put the knife in his chest. Give me your money.
Well, we're on a fairly isolated street right now, and you see this woman.
Right.
What goes through your mind?
Very easy here. Both bags are just held onto by about 3 fingers. I can easily snatch both bags with no problem at all. This woman here, no go, pocketbooks in front, too much work. I want to avoid face-to-face confrontations as much as possible for fear of identification. She looks like she could have money. That bag is so easy. I just come real low, I start to swoop, and I just grab it.
But muggers, he says, attack more men than women.
Men usually carry money, women carry credit cards, women carry checkbooks. I want cash money.
And the women?
The women, usually I can tell by the way they carry themselves, that aura. If they are frail, if they are timid, they're an easier mark.
Were you ever fooled in your judgment?
Oh, definitely. They put up a lot of resistance. They started throwing punches at me.
But he urges, don't you struggle with a mugger.
They will kill you instantly if they put up any kind of resistance. The thief may have some fear, and that fear can turn into a violent act.
Holding on to your wallet is not worth your life.
Definitely not.
Above all, he advises, don't look like a target. But be confident when you're out on the streets.
Be confident, walk with a purpose, know exactly where you're going, and get there the fastest way possible, because I'm waiting for you.
We cannot guarantee that if you follow this ex-mugger's advice, you'll always be safe, but you can reduce the danger from predators like he used to be.
I was an animal. I was subhuman. I preyed upon other helpless people who I now have a lot of remorse for. If I can let society as a whole know the horrors of addiction and consequently robbery, they can be able to protect themselves. And it helps me come to terms with it.
Remember, that former mugger says most street criminals avoid you if you are alert and look like you know where you're going. And if you get that uh-oh feeling, believe it and get out of there. And there are many more tips in this special free booklet prepared by News 4. For your copy, write to News 4 Survival Guide, Post Office Box 444, New York, New York, 10020. And it is also printed in Spanish. Join me tomorrow at 5 and 11 as we show you ways to protect your car. You'll hear from a man who was the nation's most successful car thief. Ralph Penza, News 4, New York.
New York City is now offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the killer of a pregnant woman. The cops are handing out leaflets describing the man who murdered Lourdes Gonzalez Serrano. She was repeatedly stabbed Wednesday at her apartment on the Upper East Side. Her young son opened the door and the man barged in. Police believe the same attacker stabbed another woman in the area. She survived and may be able to identify a suspect. The man who's set to hold the one vote needed to restore the death penalty in New York State may be making a stunning turnaround. Republican State Senator James Donovan says that he's having second thoughts about capital punishment. For 24 years, he has supported such legislation, and his vote is considered crucial to overriding Governor Cuomo's veto. But Donovan now says a recent bout with cancer made him reconsider his position. This evening on Channel 2's News at 5, the governor told me that override or not, New York needs is tougher laws.
How can you justify not giving the police, your children, my children, you, me, the protection of a much tougher penalty called life imprisonment without parole?
Well, the governor and Donovan could meet on Monday. A vote on that bill.
Fire officials have begun an investigation into an apartment building on Quincy Street in Brooklyn to find out why all of its units except one had electricity last night. That single apartment caught fire late last night, killing 9-month-old Coletta Martin. The infant's mother was out when the flames began to spread. 20-year-old Denise Martin said that she was on her way to the store to buy candles. Mrs. Martin said that other candles had been burning in the apartment, but she snuffed them out before leaving. Mrs. Martin did manage to save her 2-year-old son from the flames. He was hospitalized with burns.
And we have a sad drama to tell you about. It unfolded on a Midtown Manhattan street today. A fine-looking horse, a member of the police mounted patrol, lying on the ground with a broken leg. A police officer drawing a gun and putting the animal out of its misery with one shot. A report on the incident from Jim Van Sickle.
A woman looking on wept at what she'd seen. The mounted policeman, Eugene Kempton, was pale and shaken, and there was anguish written on the face of the cab driver, Joseph Kirschenbaum.
The horse ran across the intersection and I couldn't stop.
The horse was named Red, and the police had ambulances and their own vehicles drawn tight around the scene against inquisitive eyes, and
we saw the animal with a very bad fracture. One of our other officers wound up shooting the animal.
About 9:45 this morning, the officer tied up the horse in order to go on a personal necessity. The horse apparently broke loose, come down 44th Street.
I tried to stop the cab, that's all. What else could go through my head?
The cab had no way of avoiding the animal.
And the onlookers gathered, drawn by the tragic scene. The cab driver, badly shaken. The police officer, whose horse that was, equally shaken, white, not willing to speak at all. And shortly, the sanitation department will come and remove the horse. Jim Van Sickle, News 4, Manhattan.
As you probably gathered, no charges were filed against the taxi driver, the police saying that it was not his fault. What made that horse break and run into traffic?
Reagan says many of the homeless are that way by choice. It's really depressing to hear that. For more than 2 years, we've followed this story. The president is sadly mistaken. We have found that most of these people are not homeless by choice. They're homeless and hopeless because they've been overwhelmed by forces beyond their control. They're frightened people, lost souls. Many used to be just like us. The president, we think, is a compassionate man. How can he be so insensitive? Are homeless folks less than people? Is it in the American tradition to blame the victim for his misery? It is a fact, as the president noted this past week, the problem has been aggravated by local policies that released many patients from institutions. Many others, though, have been thrown into the streets because they can't get jobs, because they can't afford to pay the rent. And when the president says people sleeping on grates is a problem we've had even in the best of times, he can't be getting information directly from the streets. He can't possibly know how frightened some people are about going into public shelters where they may be ripped off or injured by violent street people. We wish Mr. Reagan could talk to some of those we've talked to.
Who expects it to going to be like this later on in life? You can't realize.
How would you finish this sentence? Help me, I need
a home.
The president is a great communicator. He's got to be more sensitive, though, to fellow Americans in desperate need. This is Gabe Pressman.
Gabe's comments can be heard every Sunday night right here on News 4.
Comments from Sal Marciano next. We'll have the latest, he will, on the big Yankee trade.
And he and we will tell you all about the hockey action today, including the Devils.
Maybe we'll report it instead. What do you say?
Give him
okay, Sal.
Nah. Give him a break.
Culinary masterpieces are a true art form, many think, and as a group of male chefs proved today, a hobby not only can be satisfying for the individual, but it can also help a good cause. Rolanda Watts reports.
Chicken-vegetable combo.
Hundreds of people flock to the International House in Harlem today just to get a taste of these culinary delights. 114 men brought everything to the feasting tables, from roasts and vegetables to fish and chicken. This is the third year of this event, and it's appropriately entitled Men Who Cook.
We have college professors, businessmen, presidents of their own company, researchers, photographers. They just come from all over.
And well, I made potato salad, and I have my own special way of doing my own chicken. When you do something really well, it's a labor of love. It makes you feel good, and you're making other people feel good too.
Like your wife.
Like my wife and others. I need to make her feel more happy about cooking.
What do you get out of cooking?
I get a satisfaction of preparing, doing, and watching others enjoy.
Oh, it's a little excitement and something to do when you're at home out of the mad rush of the everyday world.
It's been a hobby of mine for about 20 years, and sometimes I think maybe I should turn it into a profession.
I think that's why everybody's turning out. They want to find out who is cooking, why they are cooking.
And what it tastes like.
And what it tastes like. If you're serious about food, this is like dying and going to heaven. It's got to be what heaven's like.
Did you ever? Many of the folks we spoke with today said they mainly came here out of curiosity to see if men really can cook. And almost everyone we spoke with said they can. But the men who cook are gentlemen who've opened their hearts and kitchens to more than just the folks here. Proceeds from today's event are targeted to the Children's Arts Carnival. It's an independent art school based in Harlem that's dedicated to the creative self-expression of children. Rolanda Watts, News 4, New York.
A little creative self-expression going on there, I thought.
It's nice to see the men are good in the kitchen.
Good night. See you next week.
Good night.
Think I'm going to follow that?
Introducing the amazing Renault Encore. Look how it feels to mold to the road with four wheels suspended independently. Feel it flow through hairpin curves. Look how the new Encore feels as it almost ignores gas pumps and provides front-wheel drive for extraordinary cornering. For an amazing $57.55, the new Renault Encore. Amazing.
See your local New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, AMC, Jeep, Renault dealers, the ones to watch.
When NASA launches the Hubble Space Telescope, man will see 7 times farther into the cosmos. PerkinElmer is behind it. PerkinElmer, the science and computer company that built the world's first 32-bit super mini computer. PerkinElmer also solves problems for business right here on Earth with one of the world's largest families of micro and mini computers. PerkinElmer, the science and computer company where solutions come first.
Sounds good, doesn't it? Actually, it's a faulty and dangerous exhaust system. To be on the safe side, you should have yours checked regularly. I'm your local man from Meineke, and we'll inspect your exhaust system free of charge. And if there's anything wrong, we'll give you a mufflogram, a free written estimate. We'll never sell you more than you need, and we won't start without your approval. And at Meineke, you'll love the price.
Strong from $18.93 to $26.95. Visit your local independently owned Meineke shop today.
For making business travel a pleasure,
and providing a bonus program that lets me credit mileage from other airlines to my Eastern account, and therefore earn free travel to London, Rome, South America, and other exciting places. It gives me great pleasure to present these wings to Eastern Airlines. You really earn them.
At Eastern, we earn our wings every day.
This has been a presentation of News 4 New York.
No Children, the housing controversy, tomorrow at 9.
Tonight on the Sunday late night movie, Eric Estrada is Honey Boy. He's a lover. He's a fighter.
I can handle anybody.
He came from poverty.
You're nothing.
With a burning desire to be champion. But he needed a woman's help to get to the top.
This kid's money in the bank.
You got exactly what you wanted. Now they're sticking it to you. Now you're gonna cry because it hurts.
Eric Estrada and Morgan Fairchild star in the NBC late night movie, Honey Boy.
Being the best takes 10 times more than just being good. Sometimes I wonder if it's worth it.
7-Eleven is a major sponsor of the 1984 U.S. Olympic team, giving great athletes like Terrell Biggs the freedom to become the best.
Just imagine getting that gold put around your neck. Then I know that all this work will pay off, because I'm going to be there someday.
7-Eleven, the dream begins with freedom.
We all dream, but for most of us, our dreams remain dreams.
George, you put the garbage out yet?
But now your dream could come true.
With Lucky Dream Wingo. With $3 million in cash and prizes to win, the richest Wingo game ever. Prizes like this super Plymouth Voyager.
And cash. The Post has already paid out $6.5 million in prize money. Now it could be your turn.
George, tell me I'm not dreaming.
It's true, we won! So don't just dream. Play Lucky Dream Wingo in the New York Post.
When I go to an Oriental restaurant, I want to order everything. But I don't want to make a pig of myself in public. Now that Benihana has introduced 8 frozen restaurant classics, I have all the Oriental food I want right in my own home. Like sirloin pepper steak, chicken with mushrooms, Oriental vegetables with shrimp. I used to love eating out. Now I love eating in.
Benihana frozen Oriental restaurant classics. We were either going to make them great or we weren't going to make them at all.
No diet in the world will help you lose weight until you do one thing. Control your appetite.
With Dexatrim, I was able to control my appetite, and I lost weight.
The extra-strength Dexatrim diet plan, the strongest appetite control formula you can buy without prescription. Dexatrim helps you eat less and lose weight.
Dexatrim curbed my desire to eat. I lost weight because I ate less.
Extra-strength Dexatrim. No appetite control capsule works harder to help you lose weight.